Good afternoon, fellow servants of Zimbabwe. Welcome to episode 27 of Now Brett Holley, and the topic is No Reforms, No Elections. The opposition entered the 2009 Government of National Unity for one main reason, and that was to set the grounds for a free and fair election in 2013 by pushing and implementing electoral reforms. This, as we all know, was a dramatic failure. The reasons for that will be debated in another episode. A mistake is only a mistake if we do not learn from it. We also need to remember that doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result, is called madness. To this day, no reforms have been done. The Access of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, AIPA, was a law that the junta enacted in 2002 to control all media outlets. Basically, it has banned all foreign news agencies, and with its rules and fees, makes it almost impossible for any local person to open up an agency. The Public Order and Security Act, POSA, is another piece of legislation introduced by the junta that basically makes public demonstrations and protests illegal. The law gives untold powers to the police, whereby citizens can be stopped, arrested, and their property seized at will. ZEC, Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, which oversees the voting process, is staffed with junta members and former military personnel. The voters' roll is something that has not been seen in Zimbabwe much, and we must be the only country on the planet whose opposition don't have a copy before the elections. All government ministries and parastatals use government assets to campaign for the junta, thereby giving the junta basically a blank check for their campaign. Foreign aid is diverted from its intended use in education and health and turned to useless programs like the junta's Green Bombers, where youth are forced into educational camps and indoctrinated to abuse the opposition supporters. Rural no-go areas, where opposition members are hunted like animals and their homes are burnt, is commonplace to hear, as well as voters who are apparently illiterate and need to be escorted and assisted to vote. The list is basically endless. Even under the broad banner of a coalition, those conditions do not change and the junta remains firmly in charge of the whole process. We can embark on door-to-door campaigns, clean-up campaigns for decades. We can even recruit 12 million voters on paper. Under the current electoral rules, we will still lose. What we are saying is that by participating in a flawed election process gives the junta much needed credibility, and we legitimize their victory. By opposition parties accepting some seats in parliament, as they already do, at the same time claiming that the election was rigged, makes a farce of such claims. We cannot make the same mistake for the third time. We must not participate in the forthcoming elections, no matter how tempting it may look. In fact, as opposition and as ordinary citizens, we must put in place mechanisms to stop any party or any individual who wants to participate, even if we must use the same tactics that the junta use on us to accomplish this. Elections are a waste of time under the current conditions. And even if the junta allow these reforms, and even if they should lose, they will simply refuse to vacate office, perhaps even declare a state of emergency. And then what? Let us avoid wasting any more time on useless strategies and start to discuss the real solutions to bringing democracy to Zimbabwe. Nowhere in this world has a dictator been removed by an election alone. Make this subject a topic of discussion and force your leaders to address these concerns. Otherwise, if we do not, we risk another loss in 2018 and our opposition leaders living in luxury, driving 4x4s and getting a nice salary, while the ordinary citizen suffers for yet another 5 years under a junta rulership. That ends another episode of Now It's Brett and Vet. If you like what we say and you support it, you want to see a couple of more videos, we have our Facebook page and YouTube channel, both called Brett and Vet. Thank you very much.